3 years ago, someone left a review on my book, The Emotional Gift. She says something like 2 months of depression. Someone with 2 months of depression is hardly an expert in this topic. I can definitely see why she's skeptical. If you are an employer and if you want to hire someone, would you hire someone with 10 years of experience or would you hire someone with 2 years of experience? The person with the more years of experience seems more credible. But is that so? If we now put it in a different context, let's say we have a maths problem or a Rubik's Cube. Someone who takes 5 minutes to solve the problem will deem to be better than someone who takes a day or even a week. But then how come when it comes to depression, someone who takes 10 years to get out of depression seems to be more credible than someone who takes 2 months? Of course, we are comparing apple and orange here, but here's an interesting question to ponder. Why do we give more credit to those people who suffer more as compared to somebody who suffer less? When we watch the movies, we love the hero story. We like it when the main character has a lot of obstacles, when it reaches a climax, when he faces his biggest problem and he overcomes it. There is a release of tension and we feel entertained by it, we feel inspired by it. This is definitely more entertaining than watching someone who is lucky all the time, like there's no problem in their life and everything is smooth sailing. I love watching movies too. Movies are great for storytelling. You can learn from other people's mistakes and struggle, but is that what we really want in our life? Does it help us to live a peaceful life? Does it serve us? The thing is, our ego loves the drama. If it's too simple, the ego has no story to tell. And our ego spends so much time constructing how miserable our life is. If it's so simple and it's that easy, it's not satisfying to the ego. We have this false belief that the bigger the problem is, the more effort and time we need to resolve it. But is this true? There are 2 ways for us to grow. We can go through suffering and pain, which is the slow, tedious way of growing, or we can go through insight or a sudden shift of perspective. People who grow through insight seems to be lucky and their life always seems to be smooth sailing. It seems as though nothing bad happened in their life. So what happened is these people has great insight and awareness. When there is a sudden dip in their vibration, they are able to recognize it and change their direction immediately. They don't allow themselves to dip further down into low vibration where there is a big suffering and let the momentum build. And this is not pure luck. They know something that we don't know. If you have been suffering for a long time, like you get into a relationship and you break up and you get into another relationship, the same thing happens again and you break up, or you have depression year after year, there is a pattern here that you're not seeing. You're not seeing a perspective that your spirit is seeing. You are seeing from the perspective of an ego. And you have not extracted the messages and lessons from this suffering. And that's why the suffering keeps repeating itself. There's always signs and messages everywhere. Like for my example, before I reach a state of depression, I already have a bad vibe when I'm talking to the founder who tries to offer a job. My intuition is already telling me there's something off, but at that point of time, I didn't listen to my intuition. I recognize there's a dip, but I never changed the direction. I allow myself to dip even further into a negative momentum. Solutions are simple. It's merely a shift from the ego's perspective to a spiritual perspective. What is challenging though is we are too attached to our problem. Imagine yourself watching a standing concert. Then there is this tall, huge man standing in front of you. So you can curse and swear or bring the person down, but by doing so, you miss the concert. Sometimes a shift of perspective is simply taking a step to your left or taking a step to the right, and you get to watch the concert again. A change of perspective is looking at the situation from a different angle. So when you step to your left and when you step to your right, you get to see a clear view. The solution can be as simple as switching on the light switch. When you are in darkness, you don't fight the darkness, right? You don't say, darkness go away, get rid of the darkness. You find the light source, you find the light switch. Because fighting the darkness will not get rid of the darkness. It's finding the light source that will light up the whole room. When you focus on finding the light switch, you're focusing on the solution. You're not focusing on the problem, the darkness. Because what you want is light. You don't want to get rid of darkness. Our belief determines our reality. When you're depressed or you're stuck and someone offers you some help, you're not going to buy it because you're trapped with this belief that nothing works, nothing can help you. But let's not block our healing process by thinking that it's impossible or it's much harder than it should be. There are plenty of solutions out there. There's not just one solution. But when we are in a low vibrational state, we can't see the solution. I'm not asking you to be Pollyanna or like super positive, like the world is beautiful. When you're suffering, this is too huge a jump. But what I'm asking you is to be a little bit open to possibility. Instead of thinking that nothing works or nothing could help you, shift this belief to there are solutions out there, I just haven't seen them yet. When you give yourself this little opening of possibility, you'll start seeing the solution. Healing emotional pain can be fast, but not always. What it needs is a little openness. It's not about how fast or how slow you're healing. It's whether you have gained any insight or lesson from your experience. The amount of time you spend suffering doesn't make you better at overcoming or transcending your suffering. The therapist, the coach, the mentors, they might help someone or counsel someone who have depression or have a problem, but they themselves might not have experienced a problem before. Yet they have the wisdom to see the problem from a different angle and a different perspective. I'm definitely not an expert in depression. I also don't wish to be an expert in depression. I hope no one does, because you want to be an expert in the solution. You don't want to be an expert in a problem. If you're currently experiencing a dark night of the soul, a spiritual depression, or some emotional pain, this book might be helpful to you. Or not, I don't know. But anyway, the links are in the video description below. So what happens is these people have However, if you're currently experiencing I can't do this.